Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, welcome to today's session of the Live Painting Channel. My name is Warren Stokes, and I am your host, and I am delighted to start a brand new painting with you today. If you brought your paints in your gear, feel free to paint along. I've got a few things to share during the course of our program today, but mostly we're just going to have fun painting, and today I am committing myself to doing a much more neutral tones in the painting. You may have noticed if you followed my art and my live painting channel that I do a lot of very bright colors. They're pleasing to me, lots of fun blues and greens and yellows and reds. But today I'm back on the desert, and I'm going to start with painting up quite a neutral sky. Now remember, one must always, first of all, determine their composition. Today I've got some ideas, one snapped from a photo down in Joshua Tree. In fact, I've got a Joshua tree in mind for my painting today, along with a big yucca plant, and I like it because it's just radiating out from this part of the painting here. I've just sketched it out. I've got a few compositional lines. Always look at the main diagonal, the right angles to the main, and a variety of intersections, and you just basically pick points that you think are kind of, I don't know, strategically significant for your painting. In my case, I like to draw attention to maybe one or two main elements and let the eye kind of follow the painting in. So today I have some foreground that I want to paint, very neutral colors. I'm going to start with a very neutral, almost all gray sky, just kind of before I change the pace here. And I'm going to have a Joshua tree coming out, some mountains in the back. The midground will be a few more Joshua trees and just some nice dry desert. Anyway, let's get started. Got my palette all rolling here. And like I said, we're going to start with some real neutral colors. And all I did for that was put some Payne's gray and some white, just a tiny bit of one with ultramarine blue. And you'll see why as I think I get the mountains started here. But I'm just going to use a fairly wide brush here. And I'm just going to start laying in my top of the painting in the sky. Ooh, I'm already liking that nice neutral, almost pure gray. It's going to be a little darker towards the top here. The light tends to work that way in nature. In the sky, a little bit darker on top usually, not always. A little bit along the top there, on the sides. Got that edge cam. I've ordered an edge cam for my edge painting. Hasn't come in yet. We'll just work our way down the painting here. Have to cover up my nice pretty Joshua tree for the moment. I got it in my mind's eye though. I'm going to start working in some lighter shades of that gray. Gotta be pretty neutral today. I don't know why, just thought I'd do something different. Lots of neutral colors. Yeah, here we go. A little gradation, not much. It's just one of those days where it's not raining, certainly not snowing, it's hot out, I can just feel that. And the sky's clear with a little bit of haze. Maybe we're just getting over a storm or something. I don't know, some clouds could sneak in. The remnants of that storm, we'll see. And going up to the top and getting just a little darker. I don't mind making it fairly loose and painterly. In fact, I kind of like that. One of the questions from the audience today is, how often do I start with a completely fresh palette? Well, every new painting basically. Every painting, new palette. Partially because I'm on the show here, I'm working in acrylics. And they dry up. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't go back and use the same palette, which makes it interesting to try to pick up where you left off, or try to learn something from your color mixing and reproduce it. So I may have shared with you before, but one way to do that I found very useful is to create little color swatches. I'm developing a library of them. And with these, they're just little pieces of watercolor paper. You just basically put your colors and your mixes on and kind of test brush them. But I make little notes here. I'll show the audience a little closer here. Like this says raw sienna and white. That area there, pure raw sienna and white. This one's burnt umber and Naples yellow. Okay, so I remember using that in one of my prior paintings. This is burnt umber and white. So you can have a little reference library of different colors you've used. Ooh, look at that one. And you can then go back and recreate your palette. But interesting question. Good question. Yeah, little recipes is what they are. That's my recipe book. Exactly right. At some point, sometimes I'll put in actual kind of percentages of color, like 60% raw umber and 40% white or what have you. You can actually get pretty close to that by just you squirt out the pigment in a line and you kind of make one 60% and one 40%. Think about it. Almost mathematical. Yeah, well, I know you end up seeing the back of my head a lot here when I'm painting, and that's good because I want it to be mostly painting. But I like to share thoughts with folks as I paint, because partially one of the reasons I paint is just to relax, and sometimes I just think about things. I was thinking about a thought just this morning about how it's interesting how sometimes we do what I call living into the future. It's not a bad thing, it's a really good thing. Think about a time when maybe you've bought tickets to a concert and you're really anticipating and you're just already having fun, you're already living that experience, or going on a trip, vacation or something, or going to see some friends, and just thinking about it in advance, and you get to enjoy it all the more in advance, living into the future. And then painting, or any sort of art or photography, is kind of the corollary of that in reverse, and it's sort of like reliving and re-experiencing and enriching the things that you've had in your mind. All these neural patterns and memories and things that you've collected, and you get to kind of relive them like I am right now. And I just love the desert and the trip we took down to Palm Springs and Joshua Tree National Monument. It was just awesome. So now I got to decide, how low do I want that sky to go? I'm going to make a command decision and just keep it going down. One more level. I've got some lines in here to kind of guide me. One more level down. Kind of across there. The horizons are usually horizontal. Guess what? Root of horizontal is. What is the root word of horizontal? Anybody in the audience today? An easy trivia question. Yeah, right. I might just do that. I'm not sure I'm going to share it. Why not? I'll share it with the audience. Got an idea from one of my followers here, one of my fans. Says I should rent out the back of my neck with ad space on it. Cracks me up. That is absolutely hilarious there. That is funny. How here you are. Oh my gosh. As I mentioned, I spent a lot of time with my back to the camera. That is funny. Okay. Look at this, man. We're just rocking and rolling already. Alright, yes. The root word of horizontal is horizon, and I think it was Bullet Bros Dev. You just want a free session on the live painting channel. No charge whatsoever. Good one. Sometimes I give away paintings. I think I've done that a couple of times. Sometimes for trivia, answering trivia questions. Maybe I'll think of one today. Maybe you could win one of my paintings done on the live painting channel. Wouldn't that be cool? We're going to almost pure white. There's some song that's something about going into pure white or emptying into white. I know in the camera it tends to look lighter than it is, but I'm really going for it here. Oh, I forgot to mention, when you win a free painting, you may have to come pick it up. Actually, I would mail it to you, really. I would. You know, this is just something I do to have fun and help other people kind of get engaged in their art. It's not really a profit deal, trust me. So I don't mind spending a little money mailing you a painting if you win one. Yeah, so participate. Well, now that's pretty darn good. This is more or less exactly what I was looking for. Good. So even though it's acrylics, I'm going to let that part dry a little and work on a little bit of this, kind of the next level. I guess I'm going to have to decide what I'm putting in that next level about now. You know, it's kind of funny because every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, I host the live painting channel. And guess what? I usually don't know what I'm going to paint until about 5 minutes beforehand. I usually have a lot of fleeting thoughts, images. What am I going to paint today? And then, because I have this program live, I have to make a decision, command decision, and just start one. So that's what I'm doing here. New painting. Righto. I got to change my brush out and get into a different part of the palette. And I'm going to go with, yes, I'm seeing it in my mind's eye now. It's not what you see in my little reference picture. Not at all. I'm going to go create a light blue-violet-ish mountain range. Tiny bit of gray in it. In case you're wondering, I'll put a little bit of that ultramarine blue, still tying it together. I'm going to put a tiny bit of deep violet. Ooh, look at that. A little bit of that. Now we're talking. Mixing it up real good. The mountains in the farthest away from you are always lighter, quite a bit lighter than you might even think. Lighter. So I'm going to try some fairly nice light purples here. Actually kind of bluish violet, yeah. Good enough paint mixed of that same general, mixture here to do my whole back mountain range there. Put a little bit into that gray, which I like. Yeah. Test that a little bit, see what I like. Yeah, I like that. A little more blue. I think we're ready to fire away here. Fire away. Now, I have in my mind a little mountain coming up here, dropping down to about there. Sure, why not? It does a little whoop-de-doo, head up to here. And it goes down, up a little bit down, up a little bit down. Whatever pleases you. Heck, I'm easy to please, I guess, because I really like that. Cool. Continue that now. Also, so the mountains in the back are usually much lighter, significantly lighter. But also, as you go forward, which is down in your painting, even that part gets lighter. So I'm just going to go in and mix some pure white into this part. Just to kind of make that band a little lighter. See what I'm doing there? Pure white, but my brush has some of that light violet, blue violet purple on it. And blend it in, kind of going up a little bit. Now an interesting way to, I like that. Now an interesting thing you can do too is just get a completely dry brush with no pigment on it, which I'm going to do right now. And I'll kind of do a little scrubbity-dub here. I'm going to mix with just a dry brush. You'll see what it does here. Yeah, I like the way that's looking. I'm obviously not applying new pigment, I'm just mixing the pigments already on the canvas here. Speaking of canvas, I had a little fight with a canvas on my last painting. I'm wearing a short switch of scenes here. I'm going to show you that progression in case you didn't see it. It's pretty cool, but part of it was the fight I had with the canvas. And I thought the canvas was going to win, but I prevailed. I'll show you what I mean a little later. A lot of fun though. That's good, fun painting. Yeah. Well, we're doing it. We're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go right up to the top and start adding a little bit of darker ultramarine violet color. Tiny little bit. Tiniest little bit. And I'm thinking, the light's coming today from over upper right, okay? So if I do put any shadows, they are going to be on the left-hand side of the canvas. Yep. I'm just going to make some little darker shade of that for parts of these. Some of these wander down into the next little set of hills and stuff. Okay, you getting the idea there? Not a lot, but just a little touch here and there. Gives you the mountains a little more 3D as well. Good. Everybody's holding their breath. What's he gonna do now? A little bit of the same. And down in here. Oh, mountains got a little darker. So what are you thinking of? What are y'all thinking of doing soon? Anything fun? By the way, you can chat right into the program here. Every once in a while people give me advice or have a question. Trade recipes. You can trade painting recipes, or snacks, food, whatever you want. Okay, now before we get too far into that, I do want to think about and introduce the next level here, layer, if you will. And I think that's going to be changing it up. We're going to go darker, deeper blue. Getting closer to the foreground here. Darker, deeper blue. A little bit less violet. Same palette, just starting to phase in the next level here, closer to me. I'm going to go right across here with that. Not trying to be too perfect because, mountains aren't really usually perfect. These have still pretty far in the distance is the whole idea here. Pretty far in the distance. Sometimes I roll my brush like that, which has a good effect if you're not trying to be like perfect and it's not a picture, it's a painting. Not a photograph, I should say. And then maybe this part goes like that. Yeah, I like it. And that's what matters. You can make some interesting little shapes, mountains, all kinds of little wanderings around. Sometimes I hide little surprises in my painting. For this, you'd have to have watched the painting channel before quite early. And okay, here's a trivia quiz. What did I hide in one of the paintings? What little surprise did I hide in one of the paintings that? And then I named the painting kind of after it. Think about it. If I have to give you a hint, I might, but I might not. What did I hide? A little surprise in one of the paintings on the live painting channel not too long ago. Think about it. And anyone in the audience is welcome to guess. Oh, we have a winner. So, Bullet Rose has just won a painting done on the live painting channel. And I'll show you that painting. I have it right here. And I'll explain it a little bit while the paint dries for a moment. Yes. So I hid a little image in this painting. And the painting is called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And our dog, little white dog, is named Lucy. And I just was painting the clouds, and I decided I saw kind of the image of my little white dog, Lucy, right there, running through the clouds. Look at that. And the painting kind of has a diamond formatting in the composition. So I thought I would name it Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Congratulations, Bullet Bros, you have won this painting. And you will have to come pick it up, or I'll mail it to you. Truly. Either way. We have a winner. Yay! Winner of the trivia contest here. Excellent job. Good job. By the way, that was, believe it or not, that was the first session of the live painting channel we did late last year. What a great prize. All right. See, you can win lots of fabulous prizes on this program here. All right, I'm going back to my palette here. Oops, wrong palette. To get a little bit more of that violet going on. Too many brushes. There we go. Going in just a tad darker on some of these. Just trying to keep it really neutral. Neutral colors today. And here in a little bit I'll show you the progression of my last painting, which reminds me I need to snap a photo of the progress here, which I've been doing. People seem to enjoy it. Grab my camera and take a picture of the progress on this one. And then, as I'll show you here in a moment, I'll show you a progression painting. Oh look, me taking a picture of a picture of a picture. All right, cool. All right, just snap a quick picture of that. I'll show you that right now, in fact. The progression of my last painting, and I gotta let that mountain dry a little bit because I'm gonna work on the next one. So let me show you something here. I thought I would start taking pictures of, the different phases of a painting. And here's my last painting. We did it last week. The progression started pretty loose painting. As you can see, some bright colors, yellow and blue and red. I had some like desert scenery in mind here. And you can kind of see it progress to the next level, more yellow. Here we go, a little bit more yellow, a little bit of work in the clouds. Ooh, the mountains come into play. And started to work on the middle ground and a little bit of the foreground there. This painting, I kind of got thinking of a book series by Carlos Castaneda. He wrote some really interesting books, and it was all in the Sonora Desert in down in Mexico. He met this really interesting man named Don Juan, and it's actually nonfiction. It's in the Library of Congress as nonfiction, but if you read it someday, be prepared for some crazy stuff. But anyway, look at what happens here then. Okay, oops. Let's do that again. So now I'm just going to go through them all fairly quickly here. And there we go, is the progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Da-da. Pretty cool. Not quite done. There it is. Alright, that was a fun painting. We added some cactus later, as a matter of fact. I remember that. Fun stuff. Okay, I think we're about ready to get on to that next little foreground range here. And you know, the thing about that is this light shining on it and all, we're going to have to switch colors completely. Definitely going to have to switch colors. Okay, which means I'm going in for a warm tone. Now, again, fairly neutral. Come on, Warren, stick to your promise. Fairly neutral here. Neutral, warm-ish tone. Because the foreground starts to get more drier and more desertier, if that's even a word. Desertier. And right in here, it starts to happen. Thick palette, thick paint groups. Whee! A lot of fun. The funny thing about painting is you really can't make a mistake. You say, oh, that's art. Made a mistake in a painting a couple weeks ago, big blotch of black, and turned out to be perfect for one of my shadows in a palm tree. So there you have it. Okay, so I'm going to go over here with a little bit of that. Now because it's still a little wet, I almost have to do a fairly thick palette, thick paint pigment approach here. And I'm liking it anyway, so that is a good thing. And this starts creating kind of a middle ground of mountainous shapes. I'll use my handy cam zoom on this a little bit so you can see what's happening there. Yeah. Get the idea, plus that warm and kind of cool tone. Sort of work well together, I think. Alright. My handy cam set back up. Let's keep going. Make some progress here. Can't wait to get into that next part. But wait you will until it's ready. Look at that. See, now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere, see? We're definitely getting somewhere. What is going on today? Painting. Yeah. See, it's desert, you know. Not a lot of green. Neutral. Stay in neutral colors today. Alright. Speaking of that. Okay. Speaking of that, I have to start getting prepped up here for my next level or layer this way. I'll do that here in just a second, but I'm going to put a little bit of highlighting stuff up in here. I just added a little Naples yellow and white into some of this, so that's what's happening there. And then I think we're going to make that kind of take over in front of those. Yeah, like that. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're ready to do another horizontal layer, so to speak, and it's going to start to be lighter and grayer. All right, lighter and grayer. Let's do it. If we comment on the sky, I do like it. It's very neutral. I said neutral today, and we're going to go so neutral. It's going to neutralize everything in the world here. We're going to do something that I'm not even sure it'll work. I'm going to give it a go, and it's going to be pretty much all just light, super light gray, and it's going to go like this. Like that. Yeah. Super light gray. Oh, what is that? See, that was a mistake, but let's roll with it. I think we're going to roll with that, whatever that is. Probably some kind of big bush. Yeah. I like that so much. A little bit more on that one. That's pretty cool. Alright, like I said, you can't make a mistake in art. You just work with it. Now, I'm going to go and we're going to start doing a layer of really super light brown. And crossing here. And I'm just going to go on canvas and mix it as I go, just for the heck of it. We're going to leave this painting fairly loosey. Oh, Lucy in the desert with snakes. That could be the next painting name. Ooh, where did I get that? No snakes yet. Ooh, maybe I'll put a snake in these paintings. Hiding under a bush. What if I did that? Okay, I'm gonna keep that little secret for a future thing. Okay, now, coming forward. It's so light that it's gonna be, it's just almost white. This stuff is gonna be great. Nice. I'm gonna keep this looseness here on this painting. I promise. I promise to keep all this luminosity. Yeah, look it up, it's a word. We're doing a lot of luminosity in today's painting. Luminosity here. No, I don't want to. Ah, shoot. It's going to be so good, I'm going to have to let that dry so I can paint the tree, or as if I'm going to keep that luminosity going on here. Now I'm painting over my yucca, but that was just the idea of the yucca. Right now it's just in my head anyway. So now up in here, not sure what that is, but I like it. So you took my thunder away there, guy, with the comment that, oh, you weren't talking about this guy, you were talking about the sunrise. By the way, it was a sunrise, not a sunset. Anyone know how to tell the difference between a sunrise and a sunset in a painting? Give me a minute to think about that. Well, we're doing pretty good here, sticking to my neutral theme, all right. Get the edge cam going over here. See the edges. Picking up the edge theme. Saves money on frames. Okay. Having fun today. Alright, now I have to just sort of look at this for a moment and get my palette rejustified a little bit here. What am I going to do? Okay. Take a look at that. Zoom in so people can see what we've done so far. What I'm talking about, the luminosity, that's what I'm talking about, that looseness of that part of the painting. I like it, and I'm going to keep it. Which means, though, I'm going to have to let that part dry. But I can still keep working on the layers here. Put my steady cam back in place. There we go. Yeah, how do you tell a sunrise from a sunset in a painting? That's my question. All right. That's a pretty tough that's a hard question there. Let you guys sort it out. Alright, now gotta get serious here. I've got to get serious and make progress here. My paintings lately have been more like 2-session paintings. The last 2 were that way. So I get a really good solid painting foundation usually in the first session. And frankly, if I do say so myself, we're getting a pretty good foundation here. But anyway, because then the paint has to dry, the artist has to get inspired, got to go buy more paint and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it takes 2 sessions. So, just going to set that expectation a little bit. Now on this one though, what I really need to do is make sure I just keep to my theme of super neutral, super light. Super neutral, super light. Come up with some real nice tan. Well, yeah, that is a pretty nice tan. Over here, there's this big boulder I'm going to paint. It's going to be awesome, but right now it's just more or less the same stuff as in these other areas. Just a little bit of more luminosity here. Yeah, I like that. Ooh. Okay. Don't overpaint. One of the things I often do wrong is I just overpaint. You know, painting is fun and it has a lot of little nuances of spontaneity, and sometimes it's easy to forget that that's the coolness factor of it all, and you can simply overpaint. But today, I'm not going to do that. Now, I'm going to go crazy here with a little bit of different technique, because I really happen to be grooving on this, and I think we're onto something here. Look at that yellow sneaking in there for some reason. I don't know. I like that. Nice. All right. We're grooving. We are grooving about. All right. What I'm going to do is, without getting too carried away, actually one more layer of sort of, I see it, hang on. One more layer of stuff in here, which is going to be more of a super light tan. Part of the palette that's not been used. It doesn't hurt to have several palettes going on, because then as you do like your tans and browns, they can be on a different, literally a different physical palette. It's not a bad plan there. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm mixing up a nice white, super light tan. It's going to go right across here. That's pretty good. It's going to carry all the way across there. Super light tan. Touch that in it. Right. Leave my mistake in there. Make that into something a little later. Gosh, look at that. So that was fun. So much fun. I'm going to do a little bit more of that, what I was just doing, which was rolling some of the, it's desert, man. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here. Rolling some of that in there. And again, so for the book, spoiler alert, I'm going to take another picture here while we make progress. I don't know if you tend to like those progress paintings. That's what we're doing here. Get a good angle on it. All right. Let's go ahead and take a picture of that progress shot. Nice. All right. Yeah, I was thinking I might write a book or do a book on art painting. And if I do, it'll be really different than any of the others you've ever seen or read. You see all that nice painterly swirliness and all that? I like that. And I'll tell you, sometimes I don't like what I see, and I share that. And that sometimes then I just go back and call in the wrecking crew. You know, it happens. All right. Right now I'm still liking the background, the foundation that we're creating here. Largely neutral. Very, very neutral, in fact, yeah. Now, since one of the comments, well, that's actually, it's a pretty good guess. So my question was, how do you tell in a painting a sunrise or a photo the sunrise from a sunset? One of the guesses, fairly good guess, was let me just read that again. I'll read it. It says, sunrise paintings smell like breakfast. It's an interesting thought. I'm going to get crazy and suggest that perhaps we could do scented paintings, maybe with a little bit of bacon smell. That would be hilarious. All right, so no, that wasn't the answer I had in mind. So the answer is that sunsets typically have more red in them, red tints, because of the particulate buildup during the day. Well, with human global warming and all. Not just that. So that's one way. The other way is if you knew which direction the painting was facing because you knew the view, right? You knew the scenery and the landmarks, then you could determine whether it was a sunrise or a sunset, because if you are facing west and you're in the United States, it is a sunset. If you're facing east, so for example, in this painting, if you knew kind of where it was, and I was looking from over the desert into the San Jacinto Mountains, then it would be a sunset if it were sunrise or sunset. Pretty cool. All right, so I got one more big area here to do up front, and then we get to see what's next. All right, I'm gonna go completely batshit crazy here and do something like completely different gray for this. That was an R-rated comment. All right. Here I am with a gray that I haven't used in a while, because frankly I want it to be a different gray, and we're gonna rock out on this gray here, and I want it to be a big smashing dashing bunch of gray up in here. Yep. Nailed it. Because, as you'll see, this is a bunch of really, I think it's called desert desert weeds or something. I forget what it's called. I gotta learn my flora and fauna, but it is that stuff that has all these little spikes on it, and it really will bite you if you're not careful. So I got to get some of the darker parts of that in here, and it kind of grows like crazy around in here. Look at that. See, look at this. This is fun. All right, and it's growing even in a gigantic mass with a bigger brush. Right down into this corner. And it's got dark spots throughout. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Sometimes you just use a great big old brush. And you know, notice that it puts, just want to zoom in on that for a minute. The brush kind of starts doing the work, and it puts patterns of its own in there, which you couldn't possibly, do really with the detail brush anyway. So let the brush do the work there on some of that. I'll do a little bit more of that, because there's really dark area right in here. Pure Payne's gray, in case you're wondering. And then, yeah, right out where that one was. A mistakey guy. here, here, about right there, right in here, and for good measure, line of something or other going across here. I want to get that dark going. Yeah, it's still neutral, just a little bit darker, yeah. Okay, fill that in a little bit later. Wow, I'm starting to like the nature of all this. Okay. Now, oh, you hear that? That's my canvas complaining about how hard I'm hitting it with this brush. But it's alright. It has to be done. Well, this dark matter, we'll call it, is looking about exactly right. Alright, and it's going to continue back in here and right up into here. Well, you know, to each his own, but this is actually pretty freaking cool. I like it. Now we're going to go light matter, and I'm going to take the old fan brush. See if I can, do my light matter in here. Yeah, a little bit of white on that. Now, sometimes you just load it up and then get some pigment on the canvas here. Get that desired effect, whatever it is that you're looking for. In this case, I want it to look kind of wiry. Hopefully it's got that. Remember what's going to happen here. I think you'll have to wait until session 2 for this painting. This big old yucca coming out of there. Holy, I love this so far. I'm telling you, maybe it's just me, but I'm starting to really like this painting. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Doo, doo. Sticking to my promise, lots of neutral tones, which will make for a little different effect, I'm sure. Yeah, that sure looks like a bunch of random desert jungle stuff coming in there, which is what I wanted. Nice. Okie dokie. Another little progress check here. This has been a fun one. I have fun on all of them, but I'm really having a ball here. I don't know about you in the audience today, but the artist is having fun today. And really, that's what matters. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Hollywood press, it is about that time. Thank you for joining another episode of the Live Painting Channel. My name is Warren Stokes, and I've been delighted to share with you a new painting start today. We're going to continue this one next Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. In the meantime, let me post some contact information for you in case you ever want to reach out. If I can help you in any way or just collaborate, be glad to.